Virgin Radio, Style Rock.
Amici di Virgin Radio, è sempre un grande piacere essere in compagnia di una delle band più amate dal nostro popolo. Oggi siamo con Dom dei Muse. Hello, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great.
After the performances during last summer when Will of the People hadn't been released yet, now you're facing this very intimate part of the world tour. Why did you make this choice?
Oh, well, I think, just playing in all different sizes of venues is cool, but certainly there's something about kind of like previewing the song, for the first time in like a smaller environment is kind of a cool way to do it. So, yeah, we've been playing, what did we play recently? We played Liberation for the first time the other night, and yeah, it's cool. It's great to just be able to see like people's faces, which is something we've missed over the last few years. So it's we can really see their faces in these smaller gigs. So it's exciting.
Instead of the boring stadium routine.
Oh well, stadium's definitely not boring, but they definitely keep you on your toes. That's for sure. But yeah, it's just cool to kind of, like I said, quite literally have that like initial. Well, I guess we did some festivals first, but like playing the new songs, it's kind of just cool to play them in a smaller environment where you can really like connect with people and really see people's eyes and expressions, and yeah, so it's fun.
Maybe it's even a bit more scary when you can see actually the eyes and the faces.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes if they're too close, might get a bit self-conscious, But no, it's certainly just cool to like see people's like reactions, really.
Another approach to your music, which once again looks like being built for stadiums, and the next shows in Italy in San Siro and Stadio Olimpico are among the biggest events of next summer. And what can we expect, talking about the technology and the visual aspect and the connection with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the show goes, I mean, we're definitely like working on making it awesome. As we always try and do. But it's going, in a stadium show, the show has to be like a big spectacle, and we're kind of we're working on the ideas right now, but it's for sure going to be a big one. But the way we kind of perform in a stadium is really quite different. It's a different kind of connection with the crowd. I feel like your actual performance is more elaborate in many ways as well, like physically. So it's it can be more difficult to kind of feel like you're really connecting with the audience, because obviously a lot are so far away. So that's definitely a challenge, and with the production and the show and the visuals and the kind of way we play, it's something we kind of enjoy and try and the biggest challenge is trying to make that big stadium feel smaller than it actually is.
And what's the atmosphere, the post-pandemic atmosphere? It's the first or after the pandemic, actually.
In concerts, you mean? Well, it's been amazing, to be honest. I feel like, this summer, the gigs we've done this summer, it feels like people are just kind of going wild. Everyone seems really happy to be close to other people, because obviously we spent a lot of time like being apart and not seeing people. So it just feels like people are just like liberated again, and like I've never seen so many people on like shoulders and crowd surfing again, and sweating on each other. It's been really amazing to see.
I see.
Yeah.
And every time a Muse record is out, it seems like it just points the finger about what's going on in the world. But actually, I read that the initial part of the recording process was before the pandemic, as a sort of prophecy, we can say. What can you tell us about, about the genesis and the making of the record?
I'm just trying to think now. I mean, I think we might have like thrown a couple of ideas around pre-pandemic, but not too many. I think we were just like testing the water, really. I think most of it was done kind of during the pandemic, for sure. But we might have worked on like the riff of Won't Stand Down pre-pandemic, possibly. So I mean, obviously when all that happened, we were kind of on a bit of a break from the tour anyway, and then we were in Los Angeles at the time, and we bubbled up, tested and bubbled up, so me and Matt could then get together, and then Chris could come over, and eventually we could actually start working again. But a lot was happening obviously in the world at that time, and all of that has quite literally come out in the music, so from the kind of fears of the pandemic and the fallout of that, and a lot of the kind of writing and protesting that was going on in America at the time, it was all, it felt like the world was falling apart in many ways. At least it did where we were. Obviously, I'm sure it did here too at the start of the pandemic. So I think, with the world falling apart, that's the perfect subject matter for a new Muse album.
Sure. So once again, you use your own music to make people aware of the Far West out there.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, everything... I think lyrically for Matt, the hardest thing for him is being super personal, I think. So that's why, like, thematically, within the band, it's always been these quite kind of, I suppose, more overarching views about what's happening in the world and how we all may kind of like feel communally about that. And yeah, some of it is embracing and will convey feelings of love for sure, but then a lot of it is also like worrying about how we may survive in 50 years' time.
Expectations are always so high when it's about a new Muse record, and you always manage not to disappoint anyone. So don't you ever feel like under pressure or scary about anything?
Whilst making an album? Yeah, I think we've definitely felt the pressure, yeah, because, sometimes you feel like you have to like reinvent the wheel every time you like approach a new record. And we feel like we've done that, at least tried to reinvent our wheel, our Muse wheel a few times. But then also, you can also just not have to do that necessarily, and you can kind of just relax and just take that pressure off and just make music that you enjoy playing, basically. So I'd say this album is comes a little bit more from that vein, because I think it was something to do with, like, again, we didn't really have any time pressure or tours booked or stuff like that. Again, kind of, the pandemic clearing out a few years, it kind of just made us not take that, a little bit of that musical pressure off. So we just kind of wanted to play music that we enjoyed playing and felt something from.
Okay, let's stop talking about music. I was watching your Instagram profile. I saw you're very interested in cars. What can you tell me about this?
I like cars. Yeah, I like motor racing a lot. I'm a huge fan of motor racing and like F1 and but also driving myself as well. So I've done quite a bit of like track driving, like racing and stuff like that. And I love it. Yeah, I did some really cool stuff last year in the south of France with Porsche. They do like racing courses. So basically, I'm learning to be a racing driver. Ideally, not quite there yet, but it's just something I love. Yeah, I'm just really kind of passionate about motor racing in general.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
In your Instagram profile, I also saw your tribute to Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters. It's been a very sad year, unfortunately. Did you ever had the chance to meet him? Yeah, many times actually. One of our first big tours was with the Foo Fighters and the Chili Peppers back in like 2000, I think, and it was in America, and we were playing arenas together, and got to hang out with those guys way back then. And then, of course, over the years, we've shared like festival stages with them many times and bumped into them in various places, and also just in and around, watching concerts in Los Angeles, which is where he lived. So, he was a great dude, He was an amazing musician, and he was always, like, super friendly to us and to me, and I would always text him every time a new album came out and say, nice work, which he seemed to really appreciate as well. So he was, like, super cool, and it's just obviously a terrible, sad loss, and I just, I can't imagine how the rest of the band are feeling, so I just hope, hopefully somehow I don't know what they're going to do, but hopefully they feel okay at some point. I'm sure about that.
Yeah.
Talking back about the lyrics, there is so much going on right now in the world as well as 2 years ago. Are you already writing new material?
Unfortunately, not yet. No, but just it's weird because when we released an album, you know, you put so much into it, and it's like, you know, you spend so much time creating it and listening to it, and then as soon as it comes out, as soon as it's released, you kind of start thinking about the next one. So it's funny because we always had this, typically it's the three of us or me and Matt in a car or something, like as soon as it's out, we're like, okay, how can we make this better? What can we do next time? So we haven't actually started working on anything because it's a bit too soon, but I reckon next year we'll probably start, I mean, maybe even the end of this year, but I think next year we'll start working on stuff. So, I mean, things that are, you know, either happening then or what may be happening now, I don't know, I'm sure something will infiltrate through into the music. But I think, yeah, I don't know, I think next time it's going to be something different anyway. I think we might do a bit more kind of trying to reinvent the Muse wheel again next time.
And I can wait for it.
Yeah.
Dom, thank you so much for your time and cannot wait to see you next July.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, cheers.
Virgin Radio, Style Rock.